I'm Shawna Lee. This is Infinity Readings, and this is the spirituality reading for the sign of Taurus for the spring Easter equinox season. So we'll get into the above and below cards here. I've kind of got a new deck weaseled in here. So we'll see what the cards have for you, Taurus. The first card that we get on the below, the earth plane, is 11 Justice. Usually when I get this card, it symbolizes to me, even though it's justice, and we'll go over that in a little more detail, I feel like it's someone who's put a lot of work and effort into their day and they're needing a break, right? Could be someone who is overworked and not taking the proper amount of breaks, or just working too hard and not giving to themselves. And that's kind of the sense I get here. We may be giving overly to others and not enough to the self. We need to replenish the self. Like, we're on our feet all day running around, and we got to give back to the self in order to feel good about, where we are and how we go forward. Taurus is an earth energy. They can be very giving naturally, and if we're not balanced, we feel that excessively. So the Justice card, right? Imbalance. If we're over giving, we're going to feel the weight of that. So as we get into the present energies, if I can put it that way, what do we get for Taurus? We get the Knave of Pentacles. So we're staying in your energy. Knave of Pentacles. That's someone here depicted on the computer. We may be doing research, or maybe this is our spare time, what chews up a lot of our alone time. And I'm getting a conflict of interest here. I'm getting the Taurus needing to spend time by themselves, on themselves, and what they're doing is they're distracting themselves from themselves through the computer and stuff. Don't worry, everybody does it. But I need to correct that in order to be replenished, right? Because we just zone out. We're not really doing any work on the self. We're just zoning out. And that's not a break. That doesn't revive our energy. It actually slowly drips away continuously at it. It doesn't revive us. So I feel like our the little elves here symbolize of spiritual self, trying to get us to work harder on the self. You're building the acorns and whatnot, and they're giving me the sense that the acorns are a symbol of self-worth. If we just zone out, we're not dealing with self-worth. We're not building on anything. We're really just in neutral. So, I need to kind of understand that from the perspective of the higher-ups, and they're showing that Fu Manchu on the little elf there. Because I sometimes mention when I can feel the essence of how do you say, like ascended masters coming from like an Asian root, or like a shamanic root, or I feel the essence of that, so I'll pass it along. And here it's like an Asian, so we may even be going on the computer researching stuff, but again, it's like we need some alone time, but we're not willing to take it, is the sense that I get. We may be looking up Asian influence spirituality stuff, okay? That's a big ball. That's a big ball of energy, and it's good. It's always good when you go in that side. And by that, I mean spiritual practices, not just, researching about China or whatever. But I'm talking about deeply rooted spiritual practices, yes. There's a lot of good stuff in there. So either way, we are going to get bored. Well, we'll get worn out first before we get bored of not putting any energy into the self. We'll eventually do that. It's just sometimes we get fed up to the point where, like we're zoning out, and then we get fed up and edgy and irritated because we're not spending the time on the self. And going to the computer is not time for self, really. It's it kind of gets lost. Yeah. So there's a sense of needing to, like, if we don't know this, I think we know this on a certain level, but we just kind of we appreciate zoning out more than working on the self. So we want to switch that up, because we will feel better, less irritated, less negative effects outwardly is what they're giving me. It's a little bit of a rerouting for the Taurus to get them to work on the self, and the thing is, we're coming upon seasons in the northern hemisphere anyway, in Canada here, where now we got better weather. We can go out into the woods and we can go camping and we could do outdoorsy things that really will. And I feel like that's part of the precipice here. Is Taurus is just waiting for that to flip, for the spring to be sprung, and yeah, we will go, but it's just we're kind of in neutral at this point. So as we move on to the next card here on the earth plane for Taurus, yeah, we get the 10 of Wands. There it is again. That overworking. We're going to continue to overwork ourselves. So we may not see that clearly enough to create a boundary or to fix it in any kind of way. We may not understand where we're being overworked in that kind of way. And the thing is, you can be overworked even when you're not literally at work or working for others. You could be doing it at home with family and letting them chew up too much of your time and then you get irritated, and it's because we need alone time. We need bath and I'm not saying, but you know what I mean? Like, we need to relax and take a time out to ourselves, and then we feel more at peace and grace with everything, and we can attack things better. And I do feel this is what we don't understand on our physical plane. We don't understand how we're overworking because we just kind of, this is systematically in place. There's no disruption in this pattern of behavior. So the universe is going to throw some sidewinders at you to make you see this more clearly, is the sense I get. So to expand on the Justice card again, tired on our feet all day. And again, it's for others. And there's nothing wrong with that, but we have to make sure we're full before we go outward, because then it's to the detriment of the self. And again, these are things I never understood either, and I'm still learning ways that things can creep in there unacknowledged, like you don't really understand. Why am I edgy? Oh yeah, it's because... Have I had a minute to myself? No, I haven't. But when you don't sit and relax and think about it, you don't realize it, this kind of thing. So on top of that Justice card, the curious creature we have to expand on the physical plane is the Ace of Swords. Yeah, the Ace of Swords is about truths coming forth to be seen. Things that we see clearly. Victories that are made because we are seeing things clearly. Again, there's a certain part of us that understands. And there's those acorns again. Yeah, there's something about... Give me a minute. Well, the fruit, right? Because they're kind of showing like the tree rooting from that. It's like we got to nurture these little acorns in order for it to grow. And if we don't nurture ourselves, we won't grow. This kind of thing is what they're giving me. And that truth. Okay, so there's a truth we may have learned or are learning as we go forward. And we may be not paying 100% attention to this, and that can create negative fields for us in the future, and it could just be our own spare time to do what it is we want to do with it, that we're over giving in the way. Like, we can create a boundary and not be abrasive at all, I'm getting a sense of somebody like there's this thought process like, geez, I would like to just sit and do some artwork, or sit and relax, but not on the TV, like something creative that we want to do, or even just go out in nature and just decompress. But we allow others to take up our time so much that, we set aside these things that we want to do in order to do things for others. And even though there's nothing really wrong with that, eventually you feel irritated and agitated, and you're no good to others because you get bitchy and you start to complain, and you start to feel that burn. You feel the burn. And this is what they're wanting you to be aware of. It's kind of a subtle energy, which is why we're missing it. But we are feeling irritated, and this is why. There's no personal time. We're shoving that aside. So in essence, and I had to learn that too when I was, because I felt so guilty, because my mom was always an overgiver and over, to the degree that, at the end of the day, she got no time for herself. She just got to, and that's not right. You should have your grace. You should have your moment. And you can also have moments with them, but you might have to limit it. Like, in order, somebody calls and says, okay, well, I need help with this. And you say, well, I can help you for a half an hour, but after that, I got to go, because I, in my mind, scheduled a walk to go around the track. And that's what I wanted to do, instead of using, letting them chew up that time. And then it creates a boundary where this person now understands, well, yeah, okay, that'll do, and if they have a problem with that, then they're overtaking, right? You don't, so, all this has to be seen on a certain level, has to be brought to the surface. So this is what they're wanting you to do there, because I think we're managing really good, and Taurus, they just plug through no matter, but we could be more happy if we, right, enforce these rules. Okay, so the Knave of Pentacles on top of that energy, what do we get from Curious? Eight of Pentacles. Yeah, that overworking, working. Now, do we have a job that is taking up our time and we have to rearrange things? I'm getting an essence of that. I'm getting an essence of somebody who is taking on a project. Now, that could be like a job in itself, or it could be something outside of the job that is creating more of a demand on us than we initially thought it would, and therefore we're getting irritated and agitated because of that, but yet we don't create a boundary to lessen it in any way. So therefore it's not going to get better. This is the sense I'm getting. We're just going to have later nights, we hit the bed and we're just out, that kind of thing. They want you to relax more in your life. So, okay, as we get on to the third card here, the Ten of Wands, and that's somebody coming home late. They're opening the door. There's, you're coming late from work, and they got, I don't know. I'm in my head. I see things, right? And I'm getting like that bag could be full of fast food, because we just got to eat and then go to bed, shower, go to bed, get up, do it again tomorrow. This kind of thing is like overworking. The phone's on. We just got off the phone from somebody telling us what we got to do tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. So there's a busy train of stuff coming in here. Overworked. And again, it may not be work per se. It just may be demands on us. Just overworked. Now, on top of that card, the Creatures card we get is the Page of Cups. Page of Cups is usually about incoming, appreciation, love, and caring on a softer level. It could even be friendship, or someone coming out of the blue and giving us notes of affection. Small little notes of affection is what I get here. Yeah, I do feel that. And I feel like this may be universally driven to get you to kind of to get someone outside of this sphere of thought to kind of pull you in a way where, yeah, I am kind of making too many demands on myself. I got to put some limits here. Yeah, I do have to. And it may be a new coffee buddy that, sees your plight here, or someone who understands your point of view, or the point of view you need to understand can be given from them to you to make you see, right? Or, someone in a way that they've got their life figured out to a degree where they're contented and can overflow into your life and say, well, if you did this, you could do that and blah, blah, blah. Like they could share tactics in order to help you along here. That's kind of what I get. Someone we get introduced to in that way that understands us on an emotional level and helps us with hints and whatnot. Helps us in some kind of emotional way. As we move on here to the third row, am I missing? I'm missing a set of cards. I'm missing my alien cards. Oh, seriously? Wow, this has never happened. What the hell? Okay, just give me a minute here. Everything happens for a reason. I'm going to shuffle in real time. Yeah. I didn't even have hide nor hair. I play music and I shuffle and I lay it all out and I'm like, yep, they're all there. And away I go. Start recording, and so here we go. So the alien card, so that's the higher self. I'm putting these last two cards, my Metatron cards, that's my guide that helps me with these readings. And then the aliens, well, that's out there, isn't it? It's out there energy. And it can be very highly evolved, right? Evolve beyond what we could comprehend, evolution. And I feel like there may be a part of you, the reason these cards are missing may be a part of you not understanding that completely, or not wanting to see that, or not wanting to put the effort in because we're kind of too tired from life to put any more. This is kind of what I'm getting. Huh? Okay. Yeah. Okay, one more shuffle here. Two more, sorry. One. Two, a cut, and then I take the 3 cards. That's funny. I've never had that happen. 1, 2, 3. Alrighty. First for everything. Now, your first card on top of that Ace of Swords from the higher galactic mind, right? Ace of Swords, 5 of Swords, cards close to the chest. Yeah. And I feel like the Taurus, they don't want to complain. Even though I think in their head, to themselves, they're complaining, but they won't say it outward to anyone else. 5 of Swords, yeah, is a different meaning. It's coming up with a different energy field through these alien cards. And like the hoodie and everything, it's like, relax, take it easy. And because we may not be speaking of the uncomfort that we feel, or, you know, like looking after all of this, then we get no reprieve from it, no relief from it, right? So this is kind of what I'm getting. If we don't speak, the greasy wheel, right? That's the one that gets the grease. The one that's silent don't get nothing. They just got to power through it. And even though the Taurus is very used to powering through things and trudging through rough stuff, it doesn't have to be that way, is what I'm getting. Yeah, I'm getting a very soft, compassionate energy that wants you to see yourself as worthy so that we can put less pressure upon the self, because it's almost like we need to do this to impress others. It's like, no, we need to do this where we are in balance. We're in balance with the energy and the family and whatever. If we're over giving to the family, we're just going to wear ourselves out, and then we're going to get sick, and then the physical self suffers, and then nobody gets nothing. You know what I mean? They don't get the best part of you, they get the worst part. You're sick, and then they have to look after you. So we want to keep it in balance so that we don't deplete so much. Yeah, close to the chest. That's what this card is meaning from here on in. And also the swords are symbols of truths that can be told, but they're all behind us. We're unaware of them. It's the sense I'm getting. And these truths are the ability for us to have a victory, still serve others, but not deplete the self. That's all. That's it. Just find that barrier for the self. Okay. That's that. Okay. As we go to the center here, again, we may be using the computer to kind of tune out, to kind of recharge, but in essence, they're going, remember, we do not recharge. This does not recharge us. It fills our mind with activity, but we need to kind of unplug in order to recharge the self, because I think we're getting an artificial sense of being recharged when we just zone out and watch TV. And I know I do that too. I allow myself that time, but it doesn't actually recharge you. It just keeps you on numb, right? So I just want you to think about that. See how you feel about that. 8 of Pentacles, again, that's putting a lot of work and effort in. We may be putting a lot of work and effort in our job, our family, our life, period. And again, it's being seen from above. It's being seen. So what do the aliens have to say about all of that stuff? The Temperance card. Yeah, again, balance it out and you'll be fine. Balance it out, you'll be swimming. You know, balance it out, you'll be happy, like the otter here. I think I called him a seal at one point, but he's happy-go-lucky, loves his job, loves to be a seamstress or seamer, whatever you call it on the masculine end. A tailor, I guess, and a seamstress, right? So he loves to be the tailor. He loves doing what he's doing. He's just all happy. He can be creative, make whatever, suits that fit and colorful and whatever. He can use all his abilities in that way, and he still has a lot of energy to burn at the end of the day. The Taurus, I feel like they're running low here, but they're not realizing it because they're still functioning, right? This kind of thing. So the Temperance, yeah, just even that out and you will be fine. Not only that, other people will see you in a better light because we will have more energy to be more enthusiastic with them when we choose to do that. I hope this is getting through. Because it's almost like we're depleting ourselves to a degree that even the ones that we're dealing with and helping, we're not giving our all anymore. We're not, we're not fully in, that kind of thing. The emphasis here. Yeah, it's hard to express a feeling when there's no words, But anyway. 10, yeah, again, in the future, yeah, we're going to continue to work late and put in extra hours and do extra things. But there may be someone in our field that we may be able to talk to about this or is compassionate toward us having to do with all of this. We may have a sounding board that we talk to that appreciates what we're going through and may even give us some tips helping us to move forward in a better way. So on top of that Page of Cups, what do we get from the aliens? The Knight of Cups. Yeah. And then Knight, right? Because we're going from a page to a knight. That's on some planes, there's some emotional work that needs to be done. And we may have someone outside of us that is more emotionally evolved or emotionally in tune. I don't want to say like it's a devalue thing. Somebody who is more emotionally in tune with themselves and can appreciate the subtler side of things in that emotional kind of way. You have some sort of a creature there. It looks like a rabbit, but it's like no ears. I don't know what's going on there. An alien rabbit? There we go. But a rabbit is like a soft sense. Here, I get a soft sense of a creature, being caring toward us, right? It's like, hey, what are you doing? Like, can I be your companion? Right? And that's kind of the same essence I get from the page. It's like all this loving energy that wants to go toward you. So there is somebody coming in the future. And again, it could be in the form of a friendship. And very much that's what I feel here. And it's someone that understands where you are compassionately, empathetically, has empathy and sympathy for you in that way. Yeah, a good warm energy glow that I get here that I think is sent universally to help you balance your own life out, because we may be kind of muttering around and not seeing that something needs to be fixed here, right? So sometimes when we get into a lockup of energy, they'll send someone in and they'll kind of make you understand things on a deeper level that we wouldn't have maybe come up with on our own. So as we get to the last row here, the Metatron cards, on top of the Five of Swords, I think we're going through a lot here, and we're really not wanting to speak, which is, you don't want to speak negatively, but if you're being affected negatively, you got to kind of try to strive to solve that in some kind of way here. So what do we get on the Five of Swords? We get Macrocosm, Celestial Magic, the Heptagram. That is the universe keeping an eye on you. And not only that, again, like I said, they will be pulling strings here and there to get you to realize this. They'll create some magical wonderment in your universe through a friend. Could bring up, sometimes someone could say something you just needed to hear. That's a universe. Well, it could be that person, but usually they're prompted by their inner self saying, I think she needs to hear this, or I think I need to tell her that. And then they tell her that, or him that. And then it gets across to you, and what do you know? It gets through to you. And all of these things happen on a, I want to say subcutaneous level, but it's not about the skin or whatever. It's about that spirit to physical plane. It all amalgamates in there and then spits out through people. Good and bad, but I'm talking about good stuff here because the universe is trying to align you with the answers to get you to your emotional freedom here. And even though we don't really see that there's a problem, there is a problem, and they're going to highlight that to you. And the Temperance, there's a balance here that needs to be struck. We need to find our work-life balance or life-life balance. Whatever we're doing, we're overworking, and we need to create a balance there and see that we need that balance. So on top of the Temperance card, the Metatron card we get is Divine Design, the Fruit of Life. Yeah. Usually that means everything that is out of your control. It means the divine is going to take control here and move your life in a way it needs to go. And we may think all is right in the world, but when we truly search our soul, We are irritated and agitated. And because it's not in disastrous energy, sometimes it goes undetected. Universe going, no, we need to detect this. We need to see this more clearly. So they're going to create this. It's almost like a pre-tower moment, but the tower is good because it will release you into an energy that's better for you without you knowing you needed better. And sometimes, that's the remedy. And sometimes we don't see it. So we need to be pushed into that field and go, oh yeah, it's better over here. Because we didn't realize. We just don't know until you know. So that's what's going to happen to the Taurus. Big, deep breath. Yeah, I feel like we're in the crux of it now, of kind of like a little inkling in our mind that we're kind of shoving off and, again, prioritizing other things. But it's going to become higher and higher priority universally to us in order for us to make our life more smooth and more appreciative, more joyful, more. So on top of that, Knight of Cups, the last card that we have, again, it's little cuddly thing, this alien ugly thing. It looks like a rabbit with no ears, no fuzz, like whatever. But really the essence of what they're giving me is this thing is looking up to you and saying, don't you want to be more joyful? Don't you want to be more happy? Can't you sit down long enough to understand that, quit distracting yourself with meaningless stuff and look at what you feel. Right? Never mind what the Joneses are doing. Do what you feel is right. And when you feel it, it aligns with your heart. You just feel a satisfaction on a level you couldn't get to before. And this is kind of, someone outside of you. And it may be a spirit guide, It may be you connecting to your spiritual self, your higher self, spirit guides, angelic presence, whatever. God, self, Christ conscious, all of it. That other thing, up in the air. And it's very compassionately and loyally and truthfully and what's that word? Like militantly there for you. It's going to be there for you no matter what. And we may not even realize that it's there. Okay. Yeah, that was deep. The last card that we have on top of that energy is purple, royalty, nobility, and luxury. We have not this understanding. Sorry, but I'm thinking again. This is not understood by us, that we are of royalty, nobility, and we deserve luxury. We understand the luxury thing. That's innate in the earth signs, especially in the Taurus. They like to feel the pleasures of thick curtains and lush fabrics and fine cars and fine wine and, fine dishes. This kind of stuff likes to be felt there in the Taurus for the most part. But the Taurus kind of put themselves outside of that. Even though they wish for those things, they feel guilty buying those things for themselves. And they shouldn't. They're going, no, we deserve this for all the work we've put in, blah, blah, blah. So there's a little bit of a misunderstanding as to what we deserve in life. We don't deserve to be a slave to other people to the degree that we lose pleasure in giving. And that's what's happening here is we're starting to get irritated and agitated in giving because we're over giving. Simple as that. So we just pull back a little bit and reserve for ourselves. In this world today, we shouldn't be saying hold back and, pull away. It's because people are so removed from each other anyway. But for this Taurus, it's in a degree, it's really deep, a deep spiritual thing here. And they need to kick in. But I feel like the universe, man, they got it all figured out. They're right on you. And they're going to make you see this clearly. So the clarification card for the whole shebang here from the astrological tarot. We have the water sunset, a lot of water coming through these readings for clarification cards. And basically that is your emotional center. It is your guidance system. If you feel irritated and upset, it's because something's off. Your balance off. You're giving too much and not enough to yourself. That's why you're getting irritated and agitated. And for the longest time, I never knew what that meant either. I would just get mad and then not even register that. I wouldn't even register that. I wouldn't even go, why are you mad? Like, why did you get mad? I don't think about it at the end of the day. But now I do. When things like that happen, I think more. And it was since I had my son that started kicking in. Before you have a child to look after and a family and that, things like that can just waft by you and you don't recognize. But when you have a child, suddenly your universe revolves around making that person happy, someone outside of the self. Now, again, you still got to look after yourself or you're not going to be there for that. To be a good force for that. So this is all in that. I think you know that. Da da da. So anyway, water sunset. Babbling. I'm repeating myself here. So key words associated with the water sunset: kind, honorable, responsible, respected, considerate, and persuadable. Now this respected, they circled that. As I see it on the page, they circle it and they go respected. We feel we need to overwork to achieve respect from others when we can lay off the hard labor and just simply show up when we're expected to and not overwork. Yeah, this is the thing with the Taurus. They're overworking to impress. For the respect. They want the respect. Okay. Water sunset is a beautiful card when drawn in a situation. It's amiable resolution in the way that feels just to all. If it is indicating a person, it will be someone who embodies the qualities of kindness, honor, and respect. It will be someone who is trusted by others and held in high regard. A caring person who puts the needs of the community above his own. Okay, again, tightrope we're walking here. So above his own, this is what I'm getting as well. The only note of caution is that kindness might lead bad faith actors to manipulate and sway his decisions. If this is the case, you can counteract it by appealing to higher ideals and the person's natural sense of responsibility. If you have to show these qualities yourself, ensure that you have all facts and are not being influenced by emotional connections and inaccurate information. Okay, just let me digest this. Okay, so the sense is we could be swindled into putting, because really what I get here, we could be swindled, manipulated into doing more when we truly maybe even have lightly laid some boundaries and people aren't in respect of that. And again, if we don't respect our boundaries, it's nobody else outside of us going to respect ours. That's for sure, right? Because we got to stand up for that. Then they'll either agree or continue to roll over your boundaries, right? So that's where, and I think that's what's happening, is because we're not speaking of these things. We're letting people stretch us too thin. And again, I get it, the community above their own. I feel like this person is really it's like they're trying to fit in somewhere, but they're at the precipice now where they're putting in more effort than they're getting back. And they gotta, right? Self-preservation is got to be thought about here. I feel we continue to do it in the future, but I feel we will be corrected and we will keep being shown these things until we ourselves decide, okay, that's enough. And with the Taurus, it can come to quite an extreme, but it will come. And it's just not going to be within this few month reading that I'm getting. It may be down the road, in the fall, or maybe right in the middle of summer, when we truly need a break, or feel the urge when the weather's nice, you want to go out and do stuff and you can't because you're locked out. You're going to feel it more. You're going to react more. And then again, right? Try and use your grace. Because the one thing about a Taurus, though, when you offend them and that, they can pull up shit. Like they ain't gonna be graceful. They're just gonna blow in your face. And that's it. You're gonna be offended. So you don't want to do that to a Taurus because it leaves a bad taste there, right? So anyway, sorry. Oh, yeah. Don't piss off a Taurus. Don't piss off a Scorpio. Don't piss off a Leo. Like, there's a lot of them out there. You just don't want to see the wrong end of these guys. But The water sunset, kind, honorable, respectful, respected. I feel like that's at the core here, and we may be allowing others to do this, but again, we'll only do this for so long. And hopefully we see this for ourselves so that it doesn't come to a combat zone in the future. So, again, I'll read. If you have to show these qualities in yourself, ensure that you have all the facts and are not being influenced by emotional connections and inaccurate information. And we do have an emotional connection in the future. And it could be that someone overtakes our bounds in a way, and we, that could be another tester in the future here of, respect and whatnot. So, Taurus. Okay. That's your reading. Water sunset. So the sunset is a mellowing out of an energy, right? When the sun sets, it's dying down, it's cooling off, and I think as we go through this phase here, I think there is an inner knowing. It's just something we don't want to face. We want to kind of hope it'll get better, but it's not going to get better on its own. The sense they're giving me is the Taurus got to create that line, then it gets better. Because all we have to do is announce it and stand up for it the first time they try and break it. And the second time, then you remove yourself, because these are not respectable people. And if we're wanting respect, we're not going to get it from someone who tramples over. That's the thing. And if we're scared of saying, right, we see this loop here. If we're scared of saying because we know these people are going to trample, then we need to remove. Maybe we need to skip a step and not give them that opportunity, because it all depends on your own instinct. Again, never use mine above your own. So that is your reading, Taurus, for the Easter equinox season. Take care, have fun, and be kind.